Sunday, the good old reliable Sunday. My one day off that I get this week, that during this time of the year with my line of work, it's like every day at work is a living nightmare. It is such a shit show. So it's kind of depressing to say this, but a Sunday feels like a vacation. It's so ridiculous, but thankfully I'm halfway done with this fucking month. Anyway, other than that, finally getting back into the swing of things with my vinyl collection series. This is part 34. Gonna finish up the O's and start the P's within this part. As well, too, as I like to ramble along with every intro with the vinyl collection series, I kind of want to expand the content within my channel and be a bit more active, like, make like at least 3 videos a week, which I know it's really pushing it. But I figured after I'm done with this vinyl collection series, and I start doing vinyl updates, which are going to be very far and few between, as I recently realized I haven't bought a new record in like the past 2 months. And all the records that have come in the mail have been pre-orders from back in the spring and summer. So, I don't know, I've just kind of like, not really lost interest with the format, but kind of just been putting my money towards other things. So, I mean, I kind of want to just expand the channel a bit more to just always talking about music all the time. Like, for example, a few videos ago I did a video all about my favorite movies, so that's kind of like an idea of like things I want to do, just like, again, talking about different things. So, yeah, there's that. And finally, what's going to be playing in the background is the latest full-length by this neo-folk project called Of the Wand and the Moon. This is the latest album of theirs in the past 10 years, and man, it is awesome. A blend of, like, again, neo-folk and, like, gothic rock in some cases that is just so beautiful and melancholic, and honestly, it's one of the best albums I've heard of this year. Kicking off part 34 is going to be Öxxö Xööx with Namate. This is their sophomore full-length. In the previous part, I started with their debut, and yeah, we continue on with Öxxö Xööx. Namate, I would say, again, it's very weird, just like anything by Öxxö Xööx. It's experimental funeral doom metal, I guess you could say, but again, it's just so weird to pinpoint exactly what they do. And I guess I say that because they sing in their own language, which again is very weird and odd. That, again, it has members of Igor, but kind of takes influences in some cases, as there's a bit of, like, I want to say drum and bass with some of the percussions utilized on here, and it's a bit more melancholic in the sense as some of these songs have a more dreary kind of like feel to them. But again, Öxxö Xööx is one of those bands that you have to listen to it to really get it. Like, I really can't tell you exactly word for word what it sounds like, because it's just that weird, and I guess that's what appeals it to me. Again, it's like as if aliens from a different planet made funeral doom metal, it'd be Öxxö Xööx. But yeah, I'm really lucky I got this. It was put up through Blood Music, long gone, sold out, so I don't even know if this project is still active anymore, because I know there's been a lot of drama going on where all the people from Igor and the people who used to be in Igor, so I don't know, I really can't tell you where you can get this. Maybe there are some CDs available at Blood Music, but that's about it. As for the layout and packaging, you have album artwork, backside, comes on a gatefold, double LP that come on this black and red swirl color. As well, too, I have the third full-length by Öxxö Xööx titled Why, I guess is the name of it. Again, it's all in their own language, so I can't really tell you exactly what it is. And I would say out of all the full-lengths by Öxxö Xööx, this is easily the most energetic and has more of like the metal aspect with it. As the electronics feel more melodic, it just has more energy, where the other ones feel like slow burns. This one is just more livened up. And yeah, I would say this is their best of the 3 because it's the most engaging, as it's still weird and odd and abstract, but just the more beefed up tempos within it just make it more engaging and fun, I would say. One other thing too is, as I stated, it has members who used to be in Igor, and if you like the guy's vocals that does like that very over-the-top operatic like singing and screaming, you'll find it within this album. But again, using their own different language and how they dress up, it just really comes off like as if aliens from a different planet made Feudal Doom. Like, I can't stress that enough. Like, that's the best way I can describe Öxxö Xööx. But again, put out through Blood Music. Not sure if it's still available, but I would say go there if you're interested in getting a copy. As for the layout and packaging with this, you have album artwork, which is done on the side, because here's the spine of this. So you gotta hold it like this to see it. Backside, once again, comes on a gatefold that you open up vertical to see everything. Double LP that come on semi-translucent red vinyl. Oh god, yeah. Next up is the last record within my O's, and it's not a guilty pleasure because guilty pleasures are for the weak, but it's going to seem so off, and it's just going to be funny. But the last record finishing up the O's is going to be Ozone with their great hit single, you know, Maya He, Maya Who, you know, the Numa Numa guys song. Alright, so hear me out. I know this seems odd, this seems like a troll type of purchase, but it's not. See, for some reason when it comes to Europop like this, it makes me want to exercise a lot more than extreme metal. Like, I try my best to exercise as much as I can, even though I'm not in peak physical condition as I want to be, so it just motivates me more. But when it comes to what I want to listen to, I need music that is just obnoxiously upbeat, that makes me want to move. Because extreme metal, as, you know, high energy as it is, it just makes me kind of want to, like, rage or be like, yeah, ugh. That doesn't really make me want to, like, exercise, because when it comes to repetitions with any exercise, you need kind of like a flow. And with music like this, it being repetitive and kind of like, you know, bubblegum music, as people like to call it, it just works to my favor, I feel like. So yeah, I do like listening to Ozone, Britney Spears, Lady Gaga, Shakira, Metro Station, all this just like over upbeat bubblegum pop music, because it makes me want to move compared to extreme metal that makes me kind of want to rage, if that makes any sense. And if it doesn't, I really don't care, because it works for me. But I like this song. It's infectious in, yes, maybe the most obnoxious way, but it's fun, and I don't give a fuck if you dislike it. And it's just a single of it. There's literally nothing about this packaging to talk about. It just has the original mix and all the remixes, not like that really matters. And yeah, you've all heard of this, because if you were alive during 2006, you could not get away from this fucking song. With that, all the O's have been discussed within my vinyl collection, and we move on to the next letter, that being P. It's going to start off with Pan-Amerikan Native Front Little Turtles War. Great black metal from the States, I believe based out of Chicago, Illinois. Correct me on that if I'm wrong. And I know this gets a lot of buzz because, as you can tell with the album artwork and just the name of this band, it's all done by Native Americans within black metal, which is really cool. And I remember I heard the previous album of theirs, I think a year or two ago, and I really enjoyed it. And with this full length, the follow-up, it has more of like a punkish edge to it, especially with the pacing of the album. But yeah, it kicks a lot of ass, sounds awesome, and I do like how they kind of, you know, lace together a bit of like, you know, kind of like authentic, kind of like Native American chanting, and has like that tribalism kind of mixed in with it, which makes it sound authentic and give its own unique style within black metal, which is really cool. But as of right now, this is the only album I have of theirs at the moment. I know Nuclear War now repressed like their whole catalog recently. Just never got around to getting it. But yeah, definitely a standout for black metal that more people should definitely check out, especially all the morons out there that think black metal is just exclusively done by white people, as if there's an unwritten rule for that. So shows how much they know. But yeah, definitely check this out if you haven't. As for the layout and packaging, you have album artwork, backside with all the track listings, comes on a gatefold. This includes an insert sheet with credits on one side, lyrics on the other, and this LP pressing comes on bluish, kind of like white marble, I believe, limited to 300 copies. Moving on next to Pan.Thy.Monium with their album Cahoots. This is one of the many bands done by the one and only Dan Swano, who I've always looked at as the mastermind of melody when it comes to extreme metal. And Pandymonium, I would say, is kind of like the art house version take of that, of progressive death metal, but it doesn't come off pretentious. It's really similar, I would say, in terms of structure and songwriting to that of like Cynic's Focus, but with just more of a kick and more emphasis on the death metal aspect. But one thing that makes this album really unique and standout, I would say, is the usage of saxophone that's really layered throughout the album. It gives off, again, this own unique style that is similar to that of jazz fusion, hence why I compared it to Cynic. But it's just really not pretentious. It really still gives you that kick of death metal with just this unorthodox take that's just really engaging, that I feel like is kind of lost within a lot of the albums that Dan Swano did. It's not really appreciated like, you know, his work with, like, say, Edge of Sanity or something like that. So definitely check this out. And thankfully Osmose has done a lot of represses, as they usually do, so they have this easily available in stock from all different distros of that of Hell's Headbangers, Osmose, and, you know, the likes. So definitely check it out if you enjoy, obviously, progressive death metal, but if you're interested in kind of like hearing like the art house version of that style, definitely check out Pandymonium. As for the layout and packaging, you have album artwork, backside with all the track listing. Comes on a single LP, plain black vinyl, but a printed inner sleeve with lyrics on one side and band photo on the other. Up next is a bit of grindcore, that being Parlamentarisk Sodomi. This is a Norwegian grindcore band that I found out because one of the members, I don't know his name, is a part of like a handful of other grindcore bands from Norway, that being like Brutal Blues, Sudoku, which I can't wait to talk about later on within this series, that he's always made just such crazy, wacky, you know, unorthodox grindcore. It's not just like the simple, like, you know, basic late 80s grindcore worship that a lot of other bands do. He's always done stuff that's just so different from everything else, which is why I blind bought this when I saw it on Discogs for like $10. I figured, what else has he done? And I really don't spin this all that much, considering that what I just complained about earlier, it sounded like, you know, 80s, late 80s grindcore worship. That's what this is on his part. Like, it just sounds like stuff that's similar to that of like Napalm Death and Terrorizer. It's nothing that does anything different. It's just paying homage to the past. And as, you know, solid as it is, it's not really something I look for within grindcore. So, I mean, I kind of just have it as a collection piece, because, again, I didn't pay that much for it, so I ain't complaining all that much. Plus, the artwork is kind of funny, as it just seems like it's a bunch of assholes and penises, as you would usually expect from underground extreme metal. But yeah, everything else that this guy's been a part of, I strongly recommend checking out if you look for just, you know, crazy, wacky, unorthodox grindcore. But if you're in the mood for just straight up worship of the past, definitely check this out. As for the layout and packaging, again, you have album artwork of assholes and penises. Backside with all the credits and track listings, limited to 300 copies. I have number 144 out of 300. Comes with a booklet of just album artwork, credits, and lyrics, again, on the inside of it, along with just being on a standard black vinyl. Up next is going to be Passesimo with their debut full-length album, Eminence. Once again, gotta thank my viewers for recommending me this, as a lot of you guys were saying that it's similar to that of a lot of the French black metal bands that I enjoy. Only difference being it has more of like a Bastille type of sound to it. And guys, it's Bastille, not Bestial, just a friendly reminder there. And really it's similar to that of like Storm the Light's Bane done by Dissection, only as if it was fueled by the aggression you would want with like Revenge. And it kicks so much fucking ass. Like, god damn, this album is awesome. It's definitely a sleeper hit of this year, because a lot of people that enjoy black metal aren't talking about it. And one thing that makes it really reliable, besides just the comparisons I gave you of sounding like Storm the Light's Bane, but like the Bastille version of it, is that it's put out through Antique Records, and this label has been killing it with black metal releases. Like, seriously, you guys need to keep up with this label. But yeah, if you're a fan like me, you enjoy like the hyper melodic sound of black metal, you need to check this out. And I'm pretty sure copies are still available on Antique. As for the layout and packaging with this, you have album artwork. Backside comes on a standard black vinyl along with an insert sheet with lyrics on each side. After that is going to be Pensees Nocturnes with their 2019, I think, full-length album, Grand Guignol Orchestra. These guys are a French black metal band that infuse neoclassical and avant-garde experimentation that, as you can just tell by the album artwork, it genuinely sounds like a black metal circus, and it's incredible. Very similar to that, and often compared to that of Igor. Like, it's literally the more black metal focused Igor. And when you look at the live shows that this band does, which I would kill to see it, the vocalist has a megaphone strapped to him, and that's what he uses as a mic, compared to other bands that, you know, just use a single mic. He uses a megaphone strapped to him, and it's really cool and gives off more of like that authentic kind of like overblown circus type of sound and feel. And this band is very unique that I need to get more by them. And they're really consistent too, as they usually release new material like every other year. And I know they're already having another full-length in February of 2022, which I definitely want to do a review for, because talking about this band and dissecting their music, there's always such a mouthful with every song of theirs, and it's very, very unique. And again, if you like Igor, but you want more of a black metal type of sound of it, definitely check this band out because it's very similar to it. But yeah, other than that, for the layout and packaging, you have album artwork, backside with all the track listings, comes on a gatefold, as well too just double LP plain black vinyl. I also have Perturbator with his album Dangerous Days. Man, when this album was released, I knew nothing of it. I had no idea what this music was, as it was called Synth Wave. And so many people that collected black metal records, like the really obscure, esoteric, like raw black metal bands, were all drooling over this, and I was so confused. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why all of a sudden we go from black and white grainy pictures of dudes dressed like goblins and looking like they want to be like in solitary confinement, to artwork that looks like this with a chick with her ass out and just this like really kind of like retro looking band logo, I guess, with just these half naked cyborg dudes around her. I was so fucking confused when so many people were talking about this. But yeah, Perturbator, Dangerous Days, this is really, I think, what helped blew up this project's popularity, and ever since then he's really been capitalizing on the hype of each album after it. And Dangerous Days, I would say, is definitely the most club-friendly, retro-friendly sounding out of everything within the catalog of Perturbator. Songs on here like Raw Power, Future Club, which that song is so infectious. Like, if you cannot bop your head to the track Future Club, you gotta be dead. It's just like that infectious of a track. Another song I really enjoy a lot is Hardwired. That song is just, it oozes with just such sexual tension, okay? It's just such an awesome track. And again, other great tracks on here, Humans Are Such Easy Prey, Satanic Rites, which just feels like a satanic like club banger. It's just, it's a really infectious, fun album that I don't care if it sounds like every other synthwave album out there, because I know a lot of people complain about synthwave as it's all the same, the percussions are the same, you know, 4/4 beats of just snare, bass, and it's just got like some noodly type of like keyboards played over it that doesn't really add anything to it. Perturbator always keeps the style fresh and entertaining, and Dangerous Days is a phenomenal place to start out with if you want to get familiar with the sounds of synthwave. And ever since then, I know Blood Music has been pumping out repress after repress of this album So I'm pretty sure you can go there and get a copy of this, I'm pretty sure. Other than that, for the layout and packaging, you have album artwork, backside with all the track listings and more artwork. Comes on a gatefold and is just double LP plain black vinyl. The only other record I have by Perturbator at the moment is the follow-up to that of Dangerous Days, that being the Uncanny Valley. Bought this solely because of the hype and enjoyment I had with Dangerous Days, and yeah, this album lived up to it and then some. Again, I feel like Perturbator is one of the more reliable sources if you're looking for Synth Wave. He's really never done anything off or bad. It's just really solid Synth Wave that's well written. Speaking of which, his latest album that was released earlier this year, again, I feel like stylistically and songwriting wise is his best to date, as he still keeps the style fresh and just a bit innovative and not, again, cookie cutter like everyone else. So I definitely need to get a copy of that when the time is right. But as for the Uncanny Valley, I feel like the one major difference between this and Dangerous Days is this feels more modern. It doesn't feel as 80s retro fueled as Dangerous Days, which I know some people complained about, but other than that, there are some really good tracks on here that are really fun to listen to, like Weapons for Children, which, man, that sounds like the most libertarian song title ever. It's a pretty solid track. Death Squad is really fun to listen to. Disco Inferno. She Moves Like a Knife is easily the best song on here. And The Cult of 2112. Awesome stuff. But yeah, just looking at the album artwork and just how it sounds overall, it definitely pays a lot more homage to that of like Blade Runner, the soundtrack of that. So if that sounds appealing, you'll definitely enjoy it, which shouldn't be that much of a shock, because I feel like, again, anything that's electronics and it has to do with like a future dystopian has all just inadvertently been influenced by the Blade Runner soundtrack in some way, shape, or form, and Synthwave is no different. But again, yeah, put out through Blood Music, pretty sure there are copies available there, so that's really all that needs to be said. As for the layout and packaging, you have album artwork, backside, comes on a gatefold with more artwork and track listing within it. Double LP that come on printed inner sleeves, are both identical looking. And this LP edition comes on hot pink vinyl, which is easily the best color for any Perturbator album. Oh boy, now comes the part within any vinyl collection series where we reach a band that I really like, that I have a lot of records by, and it's going to take up quite a bit of a proportion with each part, as I'm only going to be able to go through half of their discography that I own on vinyl. And since we're in the P's and we're at PE, obviously next is going to be Peste Noire. This is their debut full-length album that is easily their best and what I consider one of the greatest black metal albums ever made, because the ambition they had with this album is nothing short of spectacular. I love this album so much, as this was around the time where Niche from Alceste was a part of Peste Noire, and they were pretty young during this time, and it's just incredible that I don't even think Famine or Niche was even in their 20s, and they made something like this, as they infuse both traditional black metal along with kind of like Gallic folk instrumentation, especially with the acoustic guitars, and man, it is beautiful as it is hideous, and that's what makes it just so spectacular in my eyes. Just everything about this album is truly one of a kind that put them on the spot for their own unique style within black metal day one. And as I stated, I consider it one of the greatest black metal albums ever made. And there is no way in fucking hell I'll ever give up this vinyl, as I was lucky I got it when I did, and it ain't going anywhere. So to the people who have given me offers for it, just not even a no feels respectable anymore. It's just like, just literally go fuck yourself if you think I'm ever going to sell this record. That's the most respectable way I can put it. But yeah, definitely a prized possession within the shelves of my vinyl collection. As for the layout and packaging, you have album artwork, which, by the way, one thing I've never pointed out with Peste Noire, The CDs, the tapes, which I'm pretty sure all of them are bootleg for the most part, and vinyl all have different artwork, which I always thought was pretty cool with what they do with their layout and packaging. But anyway, you have album artwork, backside with the track listings, and just comes on a single black LP. With that first Peste Noire record out of the way, that can only mean one thing. I'm going down this slippery slope where I get to praise each individual Peste Noire record within this series, because next up obviously is their sophomore full length, that being Folk Fuck Foley. And man, the differences between this album and everything that came before and after it is night and day. And there's a lot of speculation I've had with people as to what this album really truly is and represents within the catalog of Peste Noire. Because when it comes to Famine and his weird, odd, hooligan way of his outlook on things, I've had a lot of discussions and trying to interpret exactly what he's doing, which is quite difficult because he's an odd individual, to say the very least, who's obviously very controversial with some of the things he's done with this band. And I always thought about doing a video trying to dissect his philosophy, I guess, with this hooligan black metal philosophy, I guess he kind of loops together with his approach with Peste Noire. But from what I can at least tell from Folk Fuck Foley is that this album, in terms of songwriting, and even the interview sheet that comes with the album, which I'll show in a little bit, this whole album is a massive troll to the fan base of all black metal, because when you look at its timeline, it came out obviously right after their previous album that people say it's ooh so pretty yet hideous, as I just said, of lacing together black metal and that acoustic Gallic folk instrumentation that they're kind of known for. So people look at them as like a pretty black metal band. As well too, Niche is a part of Peste Noire during this time. And as you guys know, Niche was also a part of, and still is, a part of Alcest, which is another pretty shoegaze post-black metal band, if you want to get that technical with it. And I feel like Famine took notice of this and was like, alright, you think we're just a pretty boy black metal band that just makes pretty music and you don't want to ignore the message within all of our music? Alright, I'm going to make a thrashy, messy black metal album, and the interview that's with this album, it just feels like he's trolling everything, being like, oh, you think you figured us out? Not yet. And I feel like that's what this album is. It's just a massive troll, because I'm pretty sure this is their only album in their discography that's English. Folk Fuck Foley? Like, again, it just seems so odd compared to everything else. That, or I'm just a massive Peste Noire nerd and I'm looking way too much into this. But yeah, another really difficult album to get on vinyl or just in general, and again, really lucked out on getting this. So just like the previous album, you can go and fuck yourself if you think I'm ever going to sell it. As for the layout and packaging, however, you have album artwork, backside with the track listings. Comes on a standard black vinyl along with an insert sheet that's kind of like newspaper type of material. That of the interview I just talked about, one side is the French version, the other side is the English translation of it, which is pretty nice. And yeah, as I stated, if you were ever to read this, I'm pretty sure it's even available online. It's just such a massive troll. Then I have the Lorraine Rehearsals LP. Honestly, it's just for the collection piece because I rarely spin this, as it's just rehearsals. It's more of an EP of songs from previous albums, so yeah, it's kind of cool to hear different takes from songs I'm used to hearing, but as I stated, it's really just a collection piece, and I'm again really lucky that I have this within the shelves. One thing that I find really funny about this is when you look at the band photo, it's just so weird looking at the Niche photos when he was in Peste Noire, because to see him look like this, it's just weird when now he looks like the more pretty boy shoegaze musician, where back then he looked just so deranged and just didn't look like he ate a single meal of any kind of food, which is just funny to look at. But yeah, again, another collection piece. For the layout and packaging, really basic, you know, just artwork on this side. Backside, I just basically showed you everything. Standard black vinyl, and that's basically it. Second to last is going to be Peste Noire, obviously, again, with their third full-length album. This would be their last full-length album with Niche, who would be a part of it until he made Alcest his main project. And really, stylistically, it's really similar to that of the debut album, just has more of like a marching kind of band type of sound to it, especially how the percussions are laid out within it. And I'm pretty sure this is the first Peste Noire record that would have been repressed through now their own label, that being Romancy Holoquim, which this distro, it's like such a headache to keep up with. Like, I really don't understand how they run this fucking distro. It's like they'll add in more stock, but it's like 10 at a time or something. Like, it's so fucking weird. I don't get it. It's such a headache to buy from them, but it's like the only way really now to get any newer material of any kind, represses or new albums from them, so I kind of need to put up with the bullshit. But other than that, stylistically, if you enjoy the hideous slash pretty sound that they lace together with their songwriting, it's more of that, and kind of puts them back on pace compared to Folk Fuck Foley, which was just a massive troll album. So yeah, again, really keeping up with Peste Noire's discography. It's just like troll serious. It's weird because after this album, it's their fourth album, which I know is like easily their most experimental avant-garde. That's just weird, to say the very least. I don't know the name of it, but it's the fourth full-length album, which I'd love for that to be on vinyl. And again, it sounds like a troll album. Like, they just go back and forth with it, I feel like, just to keep the people who think they figured them out, like, off balance for the most part. Like, again, the mindset of Famine is just all over the place. He's so fucking odd. But as for this album right here, as I stated, if it's more of like a marching band type of sound with it, with the percussions, how it's utilized. Anyway, other than that, for the layout and packaging, you have album artwork, backside with the track listings, comes on a standard black vinyl along with a patch, which I'll never use because I'm going to be honest with you, I find this artwork to be hideous. And the last record for this vinyl collection part is again Peste Noire, and that's going to be their demo compilation. This would be the last time they would ever release any of their material through Deborah Morty Productions until they disbanded from that label soon afterwards. And I felt like everything else within their catalog, I needed to get this, as this is the only way you can have any kind of like physical media variant of any of their demo work, as the original tapes of their demos are impossible to get, and I can't emphasize that enough. I feel like I need to scream it out again to just showcase how impossible they are. So this was like my only solution and way of hearing that material on any format. So I had to get it when it was still available on Discogs. Which, by the way, I kind of find it funny, as sadistic as I sound, that, you know, they all got blacklisted and people were freaking out about them in 2018. Because it's like, guys, their debut demo was called Aryan Supremacy. Where have you been for the past 12 fucking years? Okay? So, anyway, I know that doesn't excuse their controversial themes and behavior, but like, seriously people, where the fuck have you been? But as for the material on this demo compilation, it's not really something I listen to all that much because, like, it's just really harsh. And yeah, Peste Noire has always been raw, especially with the debut album and the few albums that came after it, but this is like harsh to the point that the melodies just don't really work and flow all that well, and it's just kind of weird for my ears to hear these melodies sound this harsh. But it's more of a collection piece like anything else, and happy like anything else with what I have by them that's in my collection, is I'm pretty sure I have all the releases that were put out on LP within my collection. So yeah, pretty cool with that. As for the layout and packaging with this, you have album artwork, backside with all the track listings. Comes on a gatefold with a photo collage of all the band photos, and it's just on a standard black LP. Alright guys, that'll do it for this vinyl collection part. Like always, links provided to everything I've talked about will be in the description below, and that is that. So like always guys, make sure you guys drink plenty of water to stay hydrated, and have a great day.